Imagine standing beside someone you spoke to yesterday. They laughed, they walked, they breathed. Now they are completely still. Their chest never rises again. Their eyes never open. Their voice is gone. For the first time, a terrifying question enters your mind.
What happened?
That question may have changed human history forever. For more than 6 million years, our ancestors lived, hunted, slept, and died. Death was everywhere. Predators killed. Diseases spread. Accidents happened. Yet simply witnessing death is not the same as understanding it. At some point, one human brain crossed an invisible line. Someone didn't just see death, they realized they would die too. No fossil records that exact moment. No cave painting describes it. No ancient story survived. But archaeology suggests that something extraordinary happened roughly 100,000 years ago. Humans began treating the dead differently, not as abandoned bodies, but as people who still mattered. Why? To understand that, we need to travel far beyond written history. Long before cities, before farming, before kings, before language sounded anything like it does today, the world was louder, colder, more dangerous. Human groups were small, usually fewer than 50 people. Everyone knew everyone else. A single death changed the entire group. If a skilled hunter died, everyone ate less. If a mother died, a child might not survive. Death wasn't rare. It was expected, but expectation doesn't erase grief. Modern chimpanzees sometimes stay beside dead companions for hours. Elephants return to old bones. Orcas have been seen carrying dead calves for days. These behaviors suggest that mourning has ancient biological roots. But humans did something different. We remembered. Archaeologists have uncovered graves dating back tens of thousands of years. Some contain flowers, others contain tools. Some contain red ochre carefully sprinkled across the body. These weren't accidents. They were choices. One remarkable site in Israel, dating to around 100,000 years ago, contains carefully buried humans arranged with surprising care. Another site, Shanidar Cave in present-day Iraq, revealed Neanderthal individuals who appear to have been intentionally buried. One elderly individual survived severe injuries for years. He had lost the use of one arm. His vision was impaired. Yet he lived long enough to grow old. He could not have survived alone. Someone fed him, protected him, waited for him. That changes the story. Compassion existed long before civilization. But compassion creates another problem. The more you love someone, the harder death becomes. Psychologist Ernest Becker argued that awareness of mortality became one of humanity's defining psychological burdens. Unlike other animals, humans could imagine the future. That included imagining a future without themselves. Every sunrise became one sunrise closer to the end. How do you keep living with that knowledge? Perhaps by creating meaning. Perhaps by believing death wasn't truly the end. Nobody knows exactly when humans first imagined an afterlife. But burial hints at something profound. Why place food beside the dead? Why bury tools? Why decorate graves? Unless, somehow, they were still going somewhere. Anthropologist Binford suggested that intentional burial reflects symbolic thinking. The dead body becomes more than biology. It becomes memory, identity, relationship. That requires an astonishing mental leap. You must imagine someone who no longer exists, still existing in some form inside your mind. Neuroscientists call this mental simulation. Your brain constantly models people even when they are absent. That's why hearing an old song can instantly bring someone's face back. The body disappears. The mental model remains. Perhaps that is where ghosts began. Not as monsters, but as memories refusing to fade. Could the first spirits have lived inside grieving minds? It's impossible to know. Yet nearly every ancient culture developed beliefs about life after death. Egyptians built pyramids. The ancient Chinese buried entire armies of clay soldiers. The Maya honored their ancestors. The Greeks imagined the underworld. Different civilizations. Different beliefs. One shared question. What happens after we die? Even modern science cannot fully answer the experience of death itself. Medicine can describe what happens to the body. The heart stops. Brain activity fades. Cells begin breaking down. But subjective experience remains beyond measurement. Consciousness is still one of science's greatest mysteries. Neuroscientist Christof Koch has spent decades studying consciousness. So has philosopher David Chalmers. Despite astonishing advances in brain science, one question remains. Why does awareness exist at all? Perhaps the first human who understood death asked another question immediately afterward. If they're gone, who am I? Mortality doesn't simply create fear. It creates identity. Knowing life ends makes every decision matter more. Every friendship becomes temporary. Every sunrise becomes unique. Every goodbye becomes uncertain. This awareness may explain why humans create art, compose music, write books, build monuments, raise children, plant trees whose shade they will never enjoy. Psychologists call this symbolic immortality. If the body cannot live forever, perhaps ideas can. Perhaps love can. Perhaps stories can. In a way, they do. You know the names of people who died thousands of years ago. You can still hear the words of ancient philosophers. You can still admire paintings whose creators vanished centuries ago. Their bodies disappeared. Their minds left echoes. Maybe that is humanity's greatest invention. Not fire. Not the wheel. Memory across generations. Every civilization is built from people who knew they would never see its future. Think about that. Every cathedral. Every library. Every scientific discovery. Every law. Every poem. Someone began it knowing someone else would finish it. Death forced humans to cooperate across time. Our ancestors became builders for descendants they would never meet. No other known species does this at the same scale. That changes everything. The awareness of death didn't simply create fear. It created purpose. It created legacy. It created civilization. But there is another twist. The same awareness also creates anxiety. According to terror management theory, developed by psychologists Jeff Greenberg, Sheldon Solomon, and Tom Pyszczynski, much of human behavior is influenced by unconscious awareness of mortality. People defend beliefs more strongly when reminded of death. They seek meaning, achievement, belonging, identity. Not because they expect to live forever. Because they know they won't. Death quietly shapes life. Even when we refuse to think about it. Perhaps that's why cemeteries are peaceful. Not because they celebrate endings. Because they remind us that everyone standing there once believed they had more time. The first human who realized everyone dies probably didn't discover despair, they discovered urgency. If life is limited, every moment gains value. Every conversation matters. Every kindness matters. Every decision echoes beyond the person making it. Somewhere, tens of thousands of years ago, one person looked at someone they loved and understood that one day they would lie just as still. Nothing in archaeology records their thoughts. Nothing in genetics preserves their fear. Yet everything humans have built since then suggests they never stopped asking the same question. What does it mean to live? When you know you will die. Maybe civilization itself is our answer. Maybe every story, every painting, every city, every scientific discovery, and every act of love is humanity's way of replying. Death gave us an ending. Meaning gave us a reason to keep writing the story. And perhaps that is the strangest truth of all. The first human who truly understood death may also have been the first human who truly understood life.